When she said it, she didn't even blink. "He's moving in. If you don't like it, there's the door." The words slid across the kitchen table like broken glass, clean, cold, final. The secretary stood behind her, silent, his suitcase resting against my wall like a declaration of war. I looked at her, at the woman I'd spent 12 years protecting from the world. She met my eyes with a calm I'd never seen before, almost relief. I didn't argue, didn't plead. I just nodded once, as if signing off on my own disappearance. Then I packed my bags. When the door closed behind me, it wasn't anger that filled me, it was silence. The kind that hums under the skin, the kind that doesn't fade when you drive away. 5 days later, her mother called. Her voice cracked through the static. "Honey, I don't know how to tell you this." Her breathing trembled. The kind of sound that only comes before a storm. That was when I knew something had gone wrong inside that house. And for the first time since leaving, I felt something stir beneath the silence. Her mother said there'd been a fight. Police cars, sirens, then nothing. I listened, jaw tight, to every word she didn't finish. By the time I reached the driveway, yellow tape flapped against the evening wind. The house, my house, looked smaller, hollowed out. A neighbor told me they'd been arguing all week, said the secretary had been staying up late, working in her room. I didn't ask questions. I already knew the answers. Inside, everything was untouched. My coffee mug still sat in the sink. My jacket still hung on the chair. But something in the air had changed, the kind of change that smells like fear and regret. They said she was in the hospital. "Overdose," the officer muttered, like it was a word he'd said too many times before. The secretary was missing. His car found 2 states away, empty. I didn't go to see her. Not yet. Instead, I sat in my truck across from the hospital parking lot, watching the windows glow one by one. Part of me wanted to believe she'd been manipulated, used, lied to. But deep down I knew she had chosen him. And choices come with consequences. Over the next few days, I pieced it together quietly. Her phone records, financial transfers, hotel bookings. She hadn't fallen in love. She'd fallen into something darker, a setup. Her secretary was running a blackmail ring. Women in corporate positions, affairs recorded, money extorted. She wasn't his first. She just thought she was special. Her mother said she'd been getting strange messages, threats, that he'd taken something, photos, maybe documents, from her laptop. The woman I thought I knew had become a stranger in her own life. I drove to her hospital that night, not to visit, but to listen. I waited in the hallway outside her room. The doctors spoke in hushed tones. She was stable, but broken in places no scan could show. As I watched her through the glass, pale and still, I didn't feel pity. I felt precision, like my mind was rearranging the pieces of a puzzle I'd ignored too long. I started digging deeper. Police reports, past aliases. The man she'd let into our home had a record that spanned 3 states. Fraud, assault, disappearances, and now he'd vanished again. But this time, I wasn't going to chase him. When she woke, she asked for me. The nurse said she cried when I didn't come. So I went. One visit, one truth. She looked smaller, her voice barely a whisper. "He said he loved me," she murmured. I handed her a file. Police reports, photos, bank transfers, his real name, his fiancée. Her eyes widened, then dulled. "He used me," she said. "No," I replied quietly. "You let him." Tears welled up, but I didn't move closer. I just watched her drown in the truth she'd built herself. That silence between us, colder than any goodbye. I didn't tell her I'd already spoken to the detectives. didn't mention that her own confession to her mother had been recorded, that the house cameras I'd installed before leaving had caught everything, the arguments, the deals, the moment she let him in. I turned all of it in. Anonymous submission, no name attached. When they came for her a week later, I watched from the street. She looked straight ahead as they let her out, cuffs glinting under the porch light. No words, no tears, just the sound of doors closing behind her. I sold the house the next month, bought a small cabin 2 towns over. Sometimes I sit on the porch at night, listening to the quiet hum of nothing. People think revenge is loud, violent, but the real kind, the kind that lasts, is silent. It's the moment you stop wanting them to suffer and start realizing they already do. She built her cage one lie at a time. All I did was lock the door and walk away.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and comment. Subscribe now to Cheating Stories Insight World for more amazing stories.